All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, we got another red, yellow Sabo video. That's right, I have not messed around with this leader in a while. But we're going to be checking out an OP12 version today that's built more around the Revo Army theme, okay? It's more, this is going to be more of like a red, yellow Sabo tribal deck for Revolutionary Army. And OP12 focus as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and get straight into this, guys. Very standard layout video. We're going to check out the deck list first, then we're going to head over to the sim. We got 3 games to go over on the sim, and then we're going to finish up by recapping the list. I'll tell you what I think about this leader moving forwards. Okay, and I'll have everything time-stamped in the general description, and I'll have all relevant deck lists and stuff like that in the comment section below. If you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not hesitate to put those down in the comment section below, or hop on the VV Theory Discord. Link will be in the channel description. Today's video is brought to you by Nin Garden. To celebrate their 1-year anniversary, they're thanking the fans with a huge sale. Nearly everything in the store is $30 or less. And you can use my code, the VV Theory, at the checkout for an extra 5% off on your next order. Alright, let's go ahead and break down the deck list for today's video, starting off with the leader. Sabo is a red-yellow 5,000 power 4-life Revo Army Dressrosa type leader with the effect Dawn ×1 activate main once per turn. You may add one of your cost 3 or higher characters with 7,000 power or higher to the top of your life face up, and then give up to one of your characters plus 2,000 power until the start of your next turn. Okay, we're going to go through each one of these cards now. I'm going to mouse over them as we're going over them. Or as we're going through them, rather. If you're a newer player, be sure to pause and read what each one does if you don't already know. So we're running 4 Bello Betty, the Searcher, running 4 Koala, this can reassign Dawn, running 4 of the 2K counter Koala, we're running 2 of the 2K counter Sabo from EV02, we're running 4 Karasu, 4 Lindbergh, 4 Emporio Ivankov, the 5 cost, we're running 2 Sabo, the 6 cost red Sabo, running 2 of the 8 cost Dragon, the red one. Then we're running 4 of the 3 cost Karasu Blocker, 4 of the 2K counter Kuma, 4 of the new secret 6 cost Kuma from OP12. And then we're running 2 of the 7 cost Sabo, then 2 Fire Fist, and 4 Revo Army Headquarters. So with this version of the deck, notice this is just a pure Revolutionary Army deck list. Now, just because it's pure Revo Army, there's actually still some slight inconsistencies with the deck, which is really unfortunate with a card like this Ivankov. But it's too strong not to run if we're trying to do something Revolutionary Army. At least in my personal opinion, you guys might disagree with that, that's fine. But I have found that this card is just incredibly powerful as long as it hits. Now, I believe there are 30 targets we can hit in this deck. Let me see, we're running 4 Lindbergh, 4 Karasu, 2 of the 2K counter Sabo, 4 Koala, 4 of the 1 cost Koala, 4 Bello Betty, 4 of the 3 cost Karasu, and 4 of the 4 cost Kuma. So what is that? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 30. So we actually have 30 different targets we can hit with this Ivankov's effect. And that is important. When you whiff with that, it's probably going to feel absolutely terrible, but don't worry, you are at least establishing a 5 cost 6K body that you can start recycling into your life with your leader's effect very easily. Speaking of that, let me mention this real quick too for the newer players out there. I have a lot of red, yellow Sabo videos. I was maining this leader for quite some time. If you're really interested with what you see on the screen here, check down in the comment section of this video. I will have an entire red, yellow Sabo playlist down there for you to check out. Okay, with probably like 30 videos or something. It's got, I don't know the exact number, but there's a lot of red, yellow Sabo videos that I have in that playlist. Okay. So this version of the deck, though, we are trying to curve out, and the even curve is actually very, very strong for this deck. Turn 1, we can play out the 1 cost Bello Betty, we can play out the Stage, or we can play out the Koala. And if we're going second, we can do everything I just said, you know, +1, right? We can play out like 2 Bello Bettys, or a Bello Betty plus the Stage, or a Bello Betty plus the 1 cost Koala. We have a lot of options going first, we have a lot of options on turn 1, whether we're going first or second. Now, going into our 3 Dawn turn, if we're going first, our turn 2 going first, we can play out Karasu or do a little bit more fixing with these Bello Bettys, Koalas, and the Stage, right? Then going second, though, again, we would prefer going second because then we get to drop down something like Karasu or Lindbergh. Playing those cards out on curve is actually a very, very strong play. and your opponent is going to want to deal with that. They will, probably 9 times out of 10, if your opponent has the option to develop their board or remove a character like Karasu, they're going to choose to remove the character Karasu. Now, some decks can develop while removing, but hopefully you guys understand the point there. So they're going to try to deal with a Karasu or a Lindbergh immediately, and if that slows them down, that's great. That's fine for us, right? Okay, so that's turn 2 going first or second, right? Now, turn 3 going first, we get to go straight into Emporio Ivankov, and that is perfect. We want to do that every single time if we're going first. Our turn 3 play is slam down Emporio Ivankov. Now, if we're going second, we have a lot of options, because yes, and we still can play out Emporio Ivankov. That is still a very strong play. However, we can do a few other things, though, right? Because now we have access to the Sabo, the 6-cost 7K Sabo. This can KO up to 2 characters with a combined power of 4,000 or less. Or we can play out the new Kuma. This is a secret Kuma from OP12. This is coming out in OP12. And it's a 6-cost, 7,000 power, 1K counter character, Revo Army searchable, with the effect on play to trash a card and add a card to your life, right? You're basically going to trash a card to gain a life, and it gives this character +2 cost until the end of your opponent's next turn. And then on your opponent's turn on KO, you get to gain another life with this character. So it is actually very, very strong for us in this deck. If we can play it out on curve, we're gaining life, we're developing a body, and if they want to remove the body with a KO effect, we're gaining another life, right? And then finally, what would finish out our even curve is going straight into Monkey D Dragon. Now, if we're going first, so that was going second on our turn 4 on our 8 Dawn turn. But if we're going first on our turn 4 7 Dawn turn, that's where we're going to want to play out like the Kuma, because remember, we would be going 5 Dawn Ivankov into 7 Dawn, probably Kuma or this Sabo, right? We have a few other options still, but that's just how that goes. And then going second, we can go straight into Dragon. And then on our 9 and 10 Dawn turns, just do whatever you need to from there. It all depends on the board state and whatnot. But one thing you want to really try to do with this deck, with this leader in particular, is you're trying to get some type of value from your life, right? Like extra value. So in other words, if you can get down a card like this Karasu or this Kuma or this Lindbergh, cards with triggers in them, or even potentially the 7-cost Sabo, what you want to do is you want to put these into your life and get extra value from their triggers after using them, right? So the idea, think of it like this. If your opponent attacks into you and you get this Kuma trigger, okay, that's actually incredible. It doesn't get much better than that for you, as long as you can, meet the condition on the trigger. If your leader's the Revo Army type, which ours is, and the total of your and your opponent's life cards is 5 or less, play this card. Now, if you and your opponent's life is more than 5, that's unfortunate, because that, then we can't use the trigger. However, if you and your opponent are around like 2 life or something like that, or if say you're at 3 life, your opponent's at 2, they attack in, now you're both down to 2 life each, you're down to 4 life together. Okay, you get to slam this Kuma down into play, and then that's where this leader becomes very, very powerful. Because if they could not deal with this character on that turn, with whatever was left of their turn, you're going to be able to attach 2 Dawn to this leader, or excuse me, to this character, swing for 7,000 into something, and then use your leader effect to push it back into life and buff other characters on the board with this leader's effect. That's actually much better than it sounds, right? Because when they attack into us, number one, we just gained a life after swinging for 7,000, and then when they attack into our life on the next turn, okay, we'll just replay the Kuma we just put there from our leader's effect. So that is all still here. There's a lot of different ways you can build Red Yellow Sabo right now, guys. Let me explain that for a second. Yes, this is the version I'm going to be running today, because I actually think this version is going to be kind of decent in OP12. It will all depend on the bans and restrictions and whatnot. We'll have to see what happens. But I think this is just a solid, an overall solid deck, right? It could probably use a little bit more removal, but I'll try to talk about that more in a second. But there are other versions people are probably going to ask about in the comment section below. I'll just have to timestamp them this part right here, because I think a lot of people are going to be asking, why aren't you running the Go of Kingdom version? Why aren't you running the more controlled version? Why aren't you running this version or that version? Guys, the beauty of this leader is you can build them in whatever way you want to. Now, I understand that very soon we're going to be getting this new 5-cost Port Gosti Ace, and this card comes out in PRB02, and this card's incredible, okay? And I probably will revisit this leader in the future, of course, and mess around with a more Red Yellow Sabo Go of Kingdom version of the deck, of course. But for today's version, This number one, I think that it will all depend on how expensive this card is, but going into OP12, this will probably be an extremely affordable version of Red Yellow Sabo. You don't necessarily have to run this Koala. That's another thing I should mention. Right now, we're waiting for PRB02 to hit, so that way this card will drop down in price because I think they're going to reprint it. The only current version available is like a premium booster version where it's really expensive, but you don't necessarily have to run this card. This card does not make or break the deck, even though it's very, very good with our Leader's Effect. But this card will be the number one determining factor on how expensive this deck's going to be. I don't think this card's going to be insanely expensive out the gate because yellow is not exactly doing incredible in OP13, or excuse me, in OP12, but we'll have to see what happens. Again, with the bans and restrictions that are coming up, it could directly influence how expensive this card will be. So, again, everything will hinge or be determined by how expensive this card is. But here's the thing, guys. Even if the card is super expensive, we do have a backup plan where we can just play Koala, or we can play more of the 7-cost Sabo. We have other options we can do. So not a big deal. I mean, I would prefer to have this card because these cards do two very, very different things, right? Koala actually takes a life card from you to cheat out one of these 5,000 power characters, right? Or technically play up to one 4-cost or lower Revo army character from your hand and draw a card. However, you know, Kuma's gaining a life. So Koala is taking one of your life cards to flood the board, whereas Kuma is, you know, helping you gain life. But you're trashing cards from hand. There's downsides and plus sides to each one, but hopefully that makes sense. So again, however you want to build, this leader is fine with me. I will go back and mess with the Goa Kingdom version eventually. I've even messed around with Straw Hat versions of the deck, Control versions of the deck. But something about having this curve right here we were just talking about, going second in particular. If I can go turn 1, Bello Betty or Stage, into turn 2, Karasu or Lindbergh, into turn 3, Kuma, into turn 4, Dragon, I just think that's going to present enough tempo for most people not to be able to deal with, right? It depends on who you're playing against, of course, and how good the pilot is and all that good stuff. But man, just being able to curve out like that, getting down a Karasu, into a Kuma, into a Dragon, that's going to be pretty devastating. Especially if you can go something like, you know, turn 1, you know, going second, right? Turn 1 Searcher Betty or the Stage, and also this 1-cost Koala, where you get the 1 extra Dawn on your leader every turn to play with. Things could get out of hand very quickly like that, because then you could go turn 1, let's say Koala in Stage, turn 2 Karasu, minus 1,000 power, attacking for 6 into their leader. Next turn, on your 6th Dawn turn, play out the Kuma, right? Gaining a life, attaching a free Dawn to your leader with this effect, pushing the Kuma into life, and then attacking for 7,000 with Karasu because you buffed the Karasu with the leader's effect. You gained 2 life, you attacked for 7 and then 6 into a 4,000 power leader, or I guess maybe a 5,000 power leader, depends who you're going against. And then next turn, it doesn't even stop, they attack in. You could probably even let the Karasu go, even though it'll be a 7,000 power character, they might remove it. Okay, now we slam down Dragon, and we're probably like 4 or 5 life after this interaction. We'll have to see what happens though. So that's the whole idea, guys. That's enough yapping. Let's go ahead and check out this deck in action, and go over to the sim and see what it can do. All right, first game up we have against Green Yellow Trafalgar Law. Let's get the volume off, put the speed on 2x, and here we go. All right, Trafalgar Law. That's a pretty meta-relevant deck right now, very solid deck. So we're going to get to go first here. I think, again, like I said, guys, I think we prefer going second, but going first is not too bad either. We do have a decent odd curve as well we can hit. So they're going to go ahead and play turn 1, Kid and Killer, going second. Absolutely perfect start for this Green Yellow Trafalgar Law. We're going to swing for 8. We're going to trash a card with the Stage. We get rid of a 2K counter. We're searching for more relevant attackers and targets like that, but we only found another 2K counter. They're going to swing for 6. We're actually going to take that pretty aggressively here. They're going to play out a Bonnie. Perfect. They get to take 1 life card to replace it with another. It's the Cavendish, pulling back the Searcher, playing out the Cavendish, getting 2 Dawn is active, playing out the Beige, I believe is their follow-up. This is actually the best start that you can get as Green Yellow Trafalgar Law. I don't know what else they have in their hand, by the way. Obviously, I've only seen so much from like 1 search, but that is basically the best start you can get for Trafalgar Law. We're going to follow up on our 5 Dawn turn, playing out Emporio Ivankov, going into a Karasu, minus 1,000 power to their leader, swinging for 5,000 into 4. This is a very slow turn for us. We still can search with our Stage, but this was a pretty slow turn for us, but we're trying to get into the late game here. Okay? We're trying to set up. We're trying to get some tempo we're going to cash in on later. So we're going to trash the Lindbergh. I think I actually should have got rid of the 6-cost Sabo there, but I've got some ideas in my mind. If he plays out another Beige, I'm going to pop both Beiges with a single Sabo. but I don't think that ends up panning out the way I want it to this game, unfortunately. Okay, they play out an X-Drake for 3 Dawn. They're going to play out a Monkey D. Luffy Searcher, so they have something to pull back to their hand with their leader effect. They're going to go 7 into 5. That's going to stand 2 Dawn from the Cavendish effect. Yep, that Karasu's gone. Oh well, it's not a big deal. Remember, guys, this isn't quite Bello Betty. Let me explain that real quick. Pause. They play out a 5-cost Bonnie from Life, locking down my Dawn. This is not Bello Betty, right? Red Yellow Bello Betty and Red Yellow Sabo, they might both be dual color 5,000 power 4 life leaders that are both Revo Army, but their effects could not be more different, right? They could not be more, you know, different. So that's why we run the 5-cost Ivankov and they run the 4-cost Ivankov, because it's just all about interactions and whatnot. And that's not to say that either deck can't run both, right? You know, Bello Betty can run the 5-cost Ivankov if they want to, and Sabo can run the 4-cost Ivankov if they want to. It doesn't matter. But in this situation here, we're not scared to lose that Karasu. We're just going to let that card go. We could have tried to save it, but notice our hand, we also couldn't really save it in the end anyway. Okay, so they play out the Bonnie. They're going to lock down our Dawn. They have 2 more Dawn left to work with. They're loading it up on leader. We're just going to take it. Okay, so we take that hit there. Now we're going to do some searching with our stage because we drew another stage. Looks like we're going to grab the 4-cost red Karasu over the yellow one and over the yellow 6-cost Kuma. And let's see what we choose to do here. We've got a lot of work to do, right? We've got a lot to catch up. Our opponent's board is completely stacked, and they have as many cards in their hand as we do. So we're going to play out the Ivankov to try to get some tempo back here. We drop their, we're going to drop the the Cavendish down to 5. We're going to swing 6 into the Cavendish. They're going to 2K counter out with the X-Drake they pulled back from the turn before, so that's good. And now we're swinging 6 more into 5. They give us a blocker. Excellent. Okay, we're going to pass the turn. They're going to go 6 into 6. Okay, I kind of like defending that, right? Defending this allows us to get out of a 6K attack at our face for a 1K counter later if we let this go. Okay, let's see what they choose to do now. They're going to play out the 2-cost Kid and Killer here. Very nice. Top 5 search with that. Now we are starting to get into the late stages of the game here. Next turn is going to need to be very impactful for us. They swing for 6. So did they misplay? Oh, no, excuse me. They got their 2 Dawn back from the Kid and Killer. Never mind. That was fine. So now they're going to be able to swing 7 into 6. I think we're going to defend this, guys. Okay, 7 into 5 is fine. They go 7 into 5 into our face. We can gain a life this turn, no problem. They lock down the Imperial Ivankov. That's unfortunate, but it's really not too big of a deal. Really not too big of a deal. We're not too worried about that. Okay, so we play out the Dragon, attaching 2 Dawn to our Karasu. We are going to swing for 7 into 5, reducing the power of the Cavendish from 6 to 5 with the Karasu's effect. And now, we're going to be able to gain some life, right? We're going to be able to gain life with the Karasu. We're going to be able to buff other characters. I'm going to go very aggressively into the board here. They 2K, 1K to save that. We're going to go 6 into 5 now, because we're going to go 6, 8, 9. Okay, return the Karasu, swing 8 into 6 now. Does he want to try to save that? The answer is no. Well, now we're going 9 into 5. He's down to 0 life. He only has 5 cards in hand, and we actually have 6 cards in hand. We have 6K counter, 8K counter altogether. So 6K and 2K counters, and then 2 1Ks. Okay, they're going to play out the Eustace Captain Kid. That's pretty scary, right? So they attack in. Hang on, I'm sorry, guys. I was yapping too much. What just happened? They swing 6 into 7, or they swing 6 into 6. We 1K counter to go to 7. Okay, we're not just going to let them have any of these characters, to be honest, guys. We're basically threatening, like, hey, we're just going to run you over this turn, right? That's the entire idea here. Okay, so now they have, they don't want to attack into us to give us that Karasu back, so watch what they do here. They're going to go 10 into 6. Nope, 2K, 2K, 1K. You're not getting that, and now they don't attack with their leader because they don't want to give me that card back, but I have a Koala in hand. That is now a 5,000 power Eustace Kid. 9 into 5 would take 3 cards from hand. Well, bad news. If you couldn't get out of that one, I've got another Dragon for you. We're going 9 more into 5. It's gone. Now we're going to go 6 into leader, 8 into leader, or 7 into leader, and then 8 into leader. Okay, pulling that back, and now we're going for 8. I think, so technically we did that a little bit wrong. It should have been swing 6, swing 7, swing 8. It doesn't matter. They have to get out of it, and they have no life left. Good game to my opponent. That was a very tough game. Green-Yellow Trafalgar Law is no joke, and I think my opponent played that very well. But one thing that does not help Green-Yellow Trafalgar Law against something like Red-Yellow Sabo, especially the Revo Army version, is 8-cost Eustace Kid. I understand that was probably the best play they had in hand, but the idea is I have a lot of ways to reduce power in this deck. I didn't even have a, my, what's it called, the 2-cost Fire Fist. Fire Fist would have dropped it down to a 1K. I could have swung into it with anything and got through, if I needed to. You guys get what I'm saying. Oh, well, either way, good game to my opponent. Let's move on to the next one. Next up, we have a game versus Purple Black Luffy. Okay, let's get the volume off, speed on 2x, and here we go. Okay, I didn't like that hand, but I don't like this hand even worse, right? I like this hand even less, I should say. So we're going to swing in for 8. This is a terrible start for us, guys. Like, we got no 1-cost Searcher, no 1-cost Stage, no 1-cost Koala. What is going on? What are we supposed to do here, guys? This is just a rough spot to be in. Now, they did not get a great start either. They're going to play out a Frankie here, trashing a card to draw 2. They get the Dawn right back with the leader effect. They swing in for 6. We 2K counter out. Okay, finally, we got a Searcher. And that was a really tough decision. We just said bye-bye to one of our 8-cost dragons, and that card is pretty much our best closer. I understand we have one in hand, but being able to go dragon into dragon like we saw in that first game against Law, that is devastating. Like, very few decks can deal with that. Okay, so here we go. They're going to play out a Searcher. They have 5 Dawn left for the turn. They're going to play out a Zoro. They got that card a little bit late. That's unfortunate for them. Okay, and now they're going to swing for 6. We're going to 2K counter out. I don't want to dip too low right now, guys, because I have no board. I have no tempo. I have no momentum at all right now. So we're going to, on a 7 Dawn turn, we're going to swing for 6. We're going to play out the Kuma. We're going to go up to 5 life, which is really good for us, especially if we can hit a few triggers. They're going to play out the Sanji. That does not rest based on original cost, so they could not rest down my Kuma. They're going to go 2 into 2. Sure, you can have it. 5 into 5. We'll take this. We got a trigger that we can't use right now, unfortunately. They swing for 5. We have to counter. Nice. We got a Lindbergh. Now that one we can just trash a card to play out immediately. Very good. Okay, we needed that. We did need that. But let's see if we can make some use of this turn here. We have 9 Dawn to work with. It looks like we're going to have a pretty devastating turn here. So playing out the Dragon, attaching 2 Dawn to our Lindbergh, we're going to be able to swing in for 6 into 5. Watch this, guys. Absolutely brutal. That is a Hell's Judgment they just hit us with. -3 to my Kuma, -3 to Dragon. Pause. So not the greatest decision on what to give power reduction to, right? Because if they had given me power reduction to the Lindbergh, then I can't push this card into life, which is what I wanted to do this turn. You know, I wanted to push the card with trigger into my life so I could protect it and then get an extra life and an extra attack to ignore. And this card can only do is when attacking effect when he's at 7,000 power. Now, to be fair, the only card I can KO is a Trafalgar Law, a 1-cost Law. He doesn't know what's in my hand, right? He doesn't know I have a Fire Fist and a Koala in hand, but what does that matter? I can't even use it. I'm completely tapped out. Okay, so I'm just saying this, guys. I think I personally would have done -2,000 or -3,000. Hell's Judgment, for those who are not aware, gives -3,000 power to 2 different characters or leaders for the entire turn. I would have done -3,000 power to the Lindbergh and then probably -3,000 to the Kuma. Give him the 1 big attack, that's fine, and then block it with your Frankie. That's how I would have done things. Okay, here we go. So we're going to swing 7 into 7 here, KOing the Law. Like I said, I don't think he cared about losing that card. He just dropped down the 2 biggest targets he could. He 2K counters out. So now we're going to be able to push. So this part's a little bit unfortunate. We have to push the Lindbergh into life to buff the Dragon to swing 8 into 7. I'm hoping he doesn't have a way to counter out. He at least had to give me a blocker there. That was really good for me. Now, this might have been a new opponent here. Pause. What just happened? Guys, for those who are not aware, Red Yellow Sabo's leader effect lasts until the start of my next turn. Most effects last, that are persisting effects like that, most of them will last until either the end of your turn or the end of your opponent's next turn. Red Yellow Sabo's effect actually lasts until the start of your next turn. So leaving it through a Time Warp effect, something like 10-cost Time Warp Luffy, right? Okay, so they swing 9 into 11, thinking they were swinging 9 into 9. That was a play mistake. There's nothing we could do about that, but that helped me out big time, of course. Okay, now they're like, okay, that's not good. We had to learn that the hard way. They swing 8 into 5. We're going to take this, playing out the Lindbergh again. They're going to swing in. Okay, and they're going to swing in. We actually get a trigger there. We took the 7K hit. We get the Karasu. We're going 9 into 5. They're going to Gum Gum Giant here and cash. They had 2 Gum Gum Giants in hand, so they lost 1 in the process. And here we go. We're going to go 9 more into 7. That card's gone. Now we're going to start really getting in a good position in this game here. We're going to smash in for 7 into 5 there. They lost both characters. It was 9 into 7, it's gone. 7 into 5, it's gone. And now I think we're just going to smash in for 11 here, and we're probably going to recycle just a single character here. Actually, we're not going to recycle any characters. I could have gained a life there if I wanted to, but I think they're just going to smash into my board here, and that's fine. We can just let characters go accordingly or go from there. Okay. So right here, they attack into that. We're just going to let that go. That was fine with us. We would have blocked one of our bigger characters. So right here, we're going to be able to attack in. And now we can kind of pick and choose our battles more wisely here. We swing in for 9. Okay, they take it. Interesting. Okay, well, if they're going to take it, well, now we can actually just swing in for 11 and 11 here and really force cards out of their hand. They give me a blocker. Now we're swinging for 11 and drop them all the way down to 0 life here. Okay, or taking them down to 0 cards in hand, which is even better in some situations. And now we're going to buff our Kuma by 2,000. Now we have a 9,000 power character on the board, and then a 4,000 power blocker. They're going to swing for 7. Okay, we're going to take that because we want our character back. That's going to help us win this game, right? So we'll take that. They're going to swing for 12 into 9. I actually have double 2K counter, but I'm just going to block out. And here we go, guys. We're just going to keep beating our opponent down now. We have 4 9K attacks coming in this turn. Swing for 9. That's going to be met with a 2K. We're going to push that back, swing for 9 more. We push the dragon into life with our leader effect, buffing our character on the board by 2,000. We're coming in for 9 more, and that's going to be game. So they have nothing else they can get out of this with. They only had a single 2K left. And guys, think about it like this. Even if he had a 2K, 1K in hand and got out of it, that's fine. We don't care, right? So there goes all the cards in his hand. Then we swing our final attack in, and it's going to take his blocker. And now what's he supposed to do? Right, what's he supposed to do then? We're up to 3 life. He's going in top deck mode. We can see the top card of his deck is just a 5-cost blocker, and then next turn we'll be able to finish him off. Either way, good game to my opponent. That was a fun one there. All right, we got one more game today, guys. We got a game versus Red, Blue, Marco. Okay. Let's get the volume off, speed on 2x, and here we go. So, guys, we had a green, yellow, a purple, black, and a red, blue. We went over all 6 colors in today's video over the course of 3 games. We'll take that. Lots of different options there, and some pretty decent deck choices, right? So we get to go first here. We're going to play out the Bello Betty right away, fixing our hand a little bit. Marco uses his leader effect on turn 1 every single time, going first or second. That's a really nice feature of that leader. We play out double Koala Dawn reassigners here, and we're going to swing for 8 into the Marco, and they are running the event called Shut Up and Come With Us to cheat out an animal 5,000 power less character, something like that, or 3 cost less, I can't remember, to cheat out the 3 cost 5K chopper. Sorry guys, I'm struggling. Then they attack in on their turn with it. They get a 3 cost for free from that 3 cost blocker chopper from BB01. They swing in for 6. We're down to 3 life, and then they flood the board. Okay, that was less than ideal, right? That was a less than ideal turn for us. How are we going to bounce back? Our board is tiny right now. So guys, right here, we're going to go so we play out the Koala to do minus 3,000 to their chopper. We swing 2,000 to it, and that card is gone. Okay, excellent. Now we're going to go 6 into 4. I'm seeing if he wants to use his blocker right here or a 2K, 1K. He cashes in on the blocker, and now we're going to go ahead and go 4 Dawn onto this character, swing 5 into 4, and they're going to save it with the 2K counter. That was unfortunate. Very well played by my opponent. They needed to save that card. I am trying to fight for the board, and I'm going to lose anything I turn sideways with right now for each character and leader attack they can attack with. Okay, so they attach a Dawn to their leader. They're fixing their hand a little bit, setting up the cards in their deck the way they want. They're going to go 4 into 1. I obviously cannot save that card. I guess maybe I could have, right? I could have given him all 4 1Ks in my hand, but that's probably not a good play, right? That's very ill-advised. I would not do that. So they swing in, we let the card go. That did at least eat an attack, right? And now they're going to play out another Tony chopper, grabbing another 3-cost 4K. So they get the book chopper into the blocker chopper. This is not great. This is really, really not looking good for us. Okay, they're still going to be able to attack in. I think attacking into my Bello Betty is probably a good call here, but attacking into me, that's fine as well, because clearing out my board is a good idea when his board is as small as it is. We get a Lindbergh trigger from that as well, so we get to super punish our opponent next turn, potentially. Okay, well, if we can find something with power reduction, we can really, really punish our opponent. So we're going to start this turn off with a Searcher. Right? Yes, we still have 6 Dawn left after playing the Searcher, so if we need to fall back on playing out a Kuma, we can do that. So we're going to search up here. And pause. Every one of these options is incredible, right? For different reasons right now. I can gain a life with Kuma, and I already have some in hand, so that, I could essentially just gain life 3 turns in a row, and then triggers could be coming out of those as well, while establishing 7K bodies that say if you KO me, I gain more life. So that's a great card to pick up. We can't grab the Bello Betty off Bello Betty. That's just how the cards are, balanced. But then there's a 4-cost Karasu. a 5-cost Ivankov, which could cheat out another body and replace one of these smaller characters on the board, and then the stage. Every single card, other than the 1-cost Bella Betty Searcher that we can't grab, they're all good options here. Okay, what would you choose? Say something in the comment section below if you want to. Okay, I think we're going to grab the Karasu, so that way we can play this out while attaching 2 Dawn to our Lindbergh still and getting rid of one of the characters on the board. Okay, here we go. Here we go, guys. How are we going to deal with this? And remember, this game is on 2x speed, guys. This is a pretty long game here. This was a pretty serious game. And my opponent seemed like a pretty cool person. We were talking a little bit in the chat. So I'm going to play out the Karasu over the Bella Betty we just played. I'm going to go minus 1,000 to the Chopper. It's now in range of my Lindbergh, which can KO a 3K or less. We're going to go 7 into 4 into the other Chopper. They're not going to be able to attack into that. I'm going to attach a Rested Dawn to my leader, and I'm going to push a Lindbergh back to life, go 5,000 into 4 there, and now, what do you guys think I'm going to do next? That's right, pass the turn because they had 2 Dawn active. We are not letting them play out that stage, or excuse me, that event called Shut Up and Come With Us. We're not giving them the ability to, get that benefit there. So we don't even attack in, we pass the turn. That was intentional. It was deliberate. That was deliberate. And then they hit us with a Silver's Rayleigh. Excellent follow-up by my opponent, but they are tapped out now, and that is relevant. 5 into 5, there probably was some idea to try to save that, because even if they swing 5 more into it with the Chopper, I can then, save it, right? But I want them to attack into me. Notice that? They said, okay, you know what? We're not attacking into him. Hey, 2 can play that game. Oh, you're not going to attack me? Well, I'm not going to attack you, right? That's what just happened there. And Marco is going to win that game over the long run. So we do have to find a way to bounce back into this game. I think this is going to be a Kuma turn right here. This is a really tough decision for me. There's probably even an idea this turn to actually play out the Kuma and push it into my life to gain 2 life in 1 turn just to build up for an additional turn here. So right here, we're going to use the Koala effect to attach some Dawn to my Bella Betty. I'm going to swing for 5 into 5. I really want to attack them this turn because they're tapped out and they can't use the event. Okay, we swing for 6. They 2K counter out of that, and here we go. I'm at 4 life. I'm very safe from losing the game right now, and they're probably going to want to try to deal with my board in some way. Maybe another Silver's Rayleigh to get rid of my Kuma here. They can go minus 2,000 with their leader effect. Oh, even better, Ben Beckman. That does not KO my Kuma. That trashes my Kuma. Those are 2 different things in the game of One Piece. I did not gain a life from that. Absolutely brutal. They swing in for 5K with the book Chopper, getting another block Chopper. Guys, this is terrible for us. This is absolutely terrible. This is really, really rough right now, but we're going to play out a double Ivankov. This is kind of our last-ditch effort to get back in this game. Okay, let's see what we choose to do here. I end up getting out the Koala. Did y'all see what we had to choose there, guys? We had some very good targets in here. We could have got a blocker. We could have got a 5,000 powered body that can buff a character on the board this turn, or the Koala, which is the smallest target, but gives minus 3,000 for the turn. I need some of these cards to go bye-bye. Right, I need that Tony Chopper to get out of here. But looking back, so watch what happens here, guys. We grab the Koala and we use on this Tony Chopper. I think I actually should have gone for the blocker Chopper though. You'll see in this next turn. It's actually very, very relevant for this next turn. Okay, here we go. My board's actually very menacing now. I'm kind of threatening lethal next turn, right? Like we're actually kind of threatening lethal because watch this. I knew they got a new gate. I think there was some way I knew that they revealed there was a new gate or something like that, or maybe I was expecting one. I had a feeling that a new gate was coming down, though. I was like, I know something's going, getting KO'd this turn. And it was my Kuma and my, it was my Ivankov, and then they put out this 3-cost Azure Dragon Stamp Flowing Water to get rid of my Kuma as well. Brutal, brutal turn for us there, guys. We just lost 2 characters there. It's a good thing we flooded the board in the way we did. So right here, guys, I'm actually deciding, like, you know what? I have no chance. I have to just go for this. Okay, we end up getting the trigger Lindbergh we set there. We get a Sabo trigger, and they said, okay, I'm not attacking anymore. He just got 2 out of 2 triggers. We're not attacking anymore. Now, remember, guys, if I had KO'd the Tony Chopper, the blocker, instead of the attacker this turn, that would have been a very different turnout, right? This could have been a very, very different turnout. Okay, here we go, guys. We're going to go minus 1,000 power to the Chopper. We're going to try to get around it with this effect here. We're going to swing for 7 into 5, KOing the Chopper. Because remember, guys, the Karasu dropped the power of the Chopper down. I have to get through that attack. Some people might have been thinking... So, Pauls, let's talk about it real quick. Some people might be thinking, like, well, why wouldn't you actually reduce the power of the leader and then just let them use the blocker. Well, number one, that might allow them to get out in other ways. You know, I don't know. Maybe that would have been the better call looking forward. I thought about it like pretty hard, guys. I was thinking about it pretty long there, like thinking, okay, how do we do this? This is a very tough situation we're in right here. So let's think about that. If we had done minus 1,000 power to the Marco, right? At that point, maybe then we could have started off with like a 6K attack with the Ivankov, but we want to make one attack into a 7 to push a card to life to be able to swing with the Koala or something else. So who knows? I think getting rid of the blocker was what I wanted to do, because then, hear me out, guys. That blocker gets to eat one attack, right? And in that case, I would only have 4 attacks. So I wanted every one of these attacks to be able to go through, and if he somehow gets out of this first attack, which is a 7K, that would have taken a 2K and a 1K out of hand. Then I could attack with my Koala, and then my Ivankov, and then my leader. However, if this attack goes through, I'm swinging for 9K, 9K. How am I doing that? Because I will send this Lindbergh to life, buffing my Ivankov by 2, putting him at 8, giving them a free dawn with my Koala to swing for 9, and then the remaining 9 is going to be on my leader. Right, so that was kind of the mindset there, but I could definitely understand an argument to try to drop their leader down to 4,000. You guys tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. Just please be respectful. Okay, so here we go. Let's see how this goes, guys. This is it. I'm all in here. I'm all in at this point. Another option I had is if they counter out of this attack, I could go for their board because they'd only have 1 card left in hand. I could go for their board, gain life, and go from there, right? And then maybe we get 1 more turn with a Karasu on the board for the following turn, and hopefully enough to try to punch through on the next turn. But that was the idea here. But guys, this 7K, this is in 2x speed. My opponent is in deep, deep trouble here. They have to really consider what to do. They have to really, really consider what to do. They take the hit, and it's like, okay, well now what, guys? Do we push the Lindbergh into life and go plus 2,000 to the Koala? Because that's a whole nother option we have. I don't think the answer is yes to that, by the way, because we have to push them to 2,000 just to get 1 card out of hand. Whereas if we push the Ivankov to 2,000, that's a bare minimum of 2 cards out of hand. And then we're going to attach a Dawn to them, of course, and then swing for 9. Right here I was deciding, do I want to swing like 6, 7, 8 or 9, 9? I go with 9, 9. Ends up being a very close game here. They take that hit. And I swung in for 9. I think I even typed and I said, hey, this is my best chance. This is my only chance to win. Look at that, guys. They typed back and said the person was a really good, you know, very, very cool person. The opponent, they said, hey, man, I got 2 bricks from life. You hate to see it. It happens. It is what it is. Very close game. Marco's no joke, guys. We had some pretty decent matchups today. Marco, Purple, Black, Luffy, and Green, Yellow, Law. I know some of those can be considered like on the fringe of just outside of like the S-tier decks. Green Yellow Law might be an S-tier deck right now, to be honest, guys. But Purple Black Luffy and Red Blue Marco, they're right there in that conversation. They're right under S-tier. And then in some people's hands, right, some pilots can make them S-tier. Okay, good game to all my opponents. Those were some really fun ones. Let me get back to the deck list. We'll wrap this up now. What did y'all think of this list? Yes, the next time I cover this leader, Sabo, I will probably be going over more of like a Goa Kingdom focused version with the 5-cost ace we were talking about earlier. Where did it go? This one. But that's for next time. That's for next time. But tell me what y'all thought about this. I think having the whole Revo army theme was very, very good. I am hoping that this Kuma is not too expensive. Another thing, this Sabo did not come up at all in this testing. We'll have to see which way the meta shifts, which direction the meta goes after the bans and restriction announcement and all that. We'll have to see what happens. Because I think if we take this card out of the deck and maybe go +1 Dragon and maybe +1 of the 2K counter Sabos, we're running 10 2K counters right now, we can make some slight adjustments here and there and maybe make the deck list a little bit stronger, a little more aggressive. We'll have to see. But as is, the deck was playing very well. The deck list was playing very well like this. I think in all my testing, I only missed a single Emporio Ivankov, but that was about it. Everything else was pretty, you know, everything else, like I said, it was firing off pretty well. The Bella Betty Searcher and the Stage Searcher are really helping you sift through the entire deck in conjunction with the Ivankov, helping you flood out the board, and then you can start slamming down these 8-cost Dragons and 6-cost Kumas in the late game to start getting some really, really good advantage. The Dragon in particular, I have to say, if I'm going to stay with the Revo Army theme, I could even see going up a 3rd Dragon, even if we have to drop down one of these Sabos, like I said, or one of these, maybe even this 7-cost Sabo. Maybe we just don't need this card. We'll have to see. All right, that's enough, guys. Tell me what y'all think about it in the comment section below. I'm done. All right, let's get the outro page on here. Guys, if you're supporting me in any way, shape, or form, if you are liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing, whatever you're doing to help me out, guys, using my TCG Player affiliate link, if you're donating through Patreon or PayPal, if you're a Playmat supporter, a YouTube member, or part of the Discord community, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you guys. Y'all are incredible. And if you're helping the community out in any way, shape, or form as well, thank you so much. All right, I'm done. Hope y'all enjoyed. Till next time, guys. Peace.